Are you busy all day but find you get nothing done? Hi, I'm Cheryl Texera, and I am going to talk to you today about your time management and how you can better utilize your time so that you get things done and you don't fall victim to distractions and shiny object syndrome and all those things that make it make it really hard for us to get things done. So be sure to say hello when you come on. I'm just gonna make sure. Hi, Stephanie. Hi. Happy Monday. So today there I am. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm on. All right. So today I'm talking about time blocks, and we've talked about these before. If you haven't done time blocks before, I usually cover that in my boot camp, and it's really kind of an eye opener because what we do, and I'm going to share my screen really quick and show you what we do here. We actually block out our time, and that's what we do with our time blocks is we block out our time into 4 categories. So I know you may have heard of time blocks on the internet before, or somebody's talked about them, but I don't know if they talk about them exactly the way I do. So if you're struggling to figure out when you work best and how you how you can work your best, then time blocks are for you. And so what we look at is in a 24-hour period, what is your quality, what's the quality of your day look like? Like, when do you have time that you can fully focus on your business? And when do you have time where you might be able to work on your business, but you might have some distractions? Like, for example, if your spouse is home and they're walking, through the house and they say something to you, talk to you while you're working, or if you're homeschooling kids still and, they're working on a task, they may interrupt you. They may, come to you with questions and that sort of thing. So, you may have some distractions, and that's really what we're trying to do with this exercise. So blackout time is that time that you want to completely protect from work, right? That's the time that you spend with your family. That is the time that you're cooking dinner, you're driving your car, you're doing all these things that you cannot work. You absolutely cannot work. How about sleeping, self-care, all those kinds of things, right, that we have to do? That is your blackout time. And I call it blackout time because, you might be doing lots of things during that time, but that's not your focus when you're doing time blocks, right? When we're doing time blocks for your business, we're trying to identify the time that you can work best on your business. So then we have red time. And red time is sort of like that guarded time. Like, you might work on your business, but normally you wouldn't work on that business. And that might be like, if you're trying to make a deadline and you need to squeeze in a few more hours during the week, you might use some of that red time. So kind of think of it as a little bit of a reserve time, but you normally wouldn't work during that time. It could be even like you're making dinner and you're checking social media, checking on some things, talking to some people during, while you're making dinner. That might even be red time too. It doesn't have to be something major. And then yellow time is that distracted time. So you might be able to get some work done. That might be the time where you want to maybe work on creating images for your blog post, and rather than writing the blog post, right? Writing a blog post might require more full focus than if you are, than if you have, the yellow time, which is distraction. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. That's me. I'm a squirrel. So anyway, so those are the kinds of things that I want you to start looking at when you are thinking about your time blocks, because what you're really trying to do is identify patterns in your own behavior so that you can set your office hours accordingly. So if you normally have, great focus first thing in the morning, then, make that your office hours, even if you're working in your pajamas, over a cup of coffee. It's okay, because the point is you're trying to get yourself to a place where you can be the most productive, and make sure that you fit your patterns rather than trying to force yourself into office hours like we do with a regular company, right? If you worked for somebody else, you'd have to be there at whatever time they tell you and leave at whatever time. And they don't care about whether or not you're super productive during that time or not, right? They just want you there during those office hours. And as an entrepreneur, it's up to you to create some structure for your business so that you don't blow off your work, right? You don't not work, but it also gives you that flexibility so that you can set office hours when you are the most productive, and you can actually sit down and enjoy your work, right? So that's where the time blocks really come in handy. And so I wanted today to just kind of recap where we are on on time blocks, because I think that we need that quarterly reminder that, things are gonna, you're gonna keep focusing in on your time blocks. And sometimes we may even have to take measurements of those time blocks so that you can see a pattern in your own behavior. So it's not a problem to even create some sort of a spreadsheet. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because they're saying that I'm frozen. So I got to see what's going on. I'm not frozen on my side, so I hope it's not frozen on your side. So anyway, so I have this little metrics sheet that you could use that, it's like a spreadsheet, and you can put, like, every single week you can put in there. I guess I'll try sharing it again. Hopefully it's not still frozen, because I wanted to share this with you. I created this spreadsheet that you could use, and it's kind of, let me see if I can blow it up just a little bit here. I guess I can't. Okay. So, okay, now it's okay. Good. So I created this spreadsheet so that you could kind of look at, several sprints. Like if you're struggling to, it's kind of like how if you are dieting, right? If you decide you're finally going to go on a diet, one of the first things you start doing is tracking your food, right? You're not tracking your food so that you can, see what you're eating and force yourself to be in a certain on a certain diet necessarily. You're tracking so that you can start reminding yourself what a portion is again, right? Reminding yourself that you don't need to eat that much. How many calories are you eating in a meal? Those kinds of things. So similarly with time blocks, we can do the same thing. So you can create this sheet. And I know it might be hard to see. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit more. Oh, okay, there we go. So you can have like a sprint start date. We stay on a 2-week schedule here for quarter 2 and maybe sprint 3. And then you can put the estimated number of hours that you think that you're able to work during a week or during the entire 2-week block. And then you can even put in here your green time blocks, yellow time blocks, and then some reserve time just in case you don't get some things done. And these are all estimates, right? And then when you're done, you can track the actual hours that you did work. And the reason why you want to track those actual hours is to keep yourself honest, right? And make sure that you're actually putting in the time that you said you would put in. And no cheating now. If you sit down to do something like write a blog post and you spend a half an hour playing, Scrabble on your game, on your cell phone, well, that's not working, right? And those are the things that you need to take into account, is whether or not you are actually working when you say you're going to work. And if you're not, then let's take a look at why you're not actually working. Is it because you have lack of direction, or you're out of your pattern, right? Your pattern is that you are not necessarily productive at, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when you're trying to write that blog post, or 10 o'clock at night, when you're trying to write that because you waited till everybody went to bed. So those are the kinds of things that I really want you to look at and think about in terms of what your day looks like and where you will naturally work. And then make those your office hours. It doesn't have to be 4 hours or 8 hours all in a row or anything like that. Actually, one of my Scrum bosses creates 1.5-hour blocks for herself, and she works for 90 minutes. And when she does that, she puts her cell phone away. She puts everything away. She starts with a clean browser window, right? So nothing up on her browsers. She starts with the task at hand, and then only opens the browsers she needs for that specific task. And that is one of the best ways that you can stop those distractions, is between tasks. Close everything down, like close out the task you're working on, and then open up the stuff that you need to work on the next task. I know it seems like a little bit labor intensive, like, oh, but I might need that. But the problem is that can really distract you. A really good example is Facebook. Like, if I don't have to have Facebook open, I do not have it open. It is a huge distractor, and we don't want that to be distracting us all the time, right? So put that stuff away, put your cell phone away, move it out of the way where, you can't get to it, easily, or you don't see the little light flashing or the notifications happening or whatever. So, so put everything away, get that browser down, and then focus only on the tasks that you have at hand. Remember that we put our tasks on our Kanban board, right, in this group. So we are all about Scrum. We have our Kanban board. Remember, the Kanban board has to do, doing, and done. And the only things that we put in the to-do column are things that we're going to do this sprint. Only this sprint, not stuff that you want to do down the road, not stuff that you want to maybe do later on, not something if you have time. Let's only put the things in there that you actually want and need to get done. And then you can always add things to it if you get all those things done. But if you overpack your sprint, then you tend to get overwhelmed, right? You get overwhelmed, and then you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do first. You don't know how to prioritize all those things. So that's what doing this Kanban board is all about, is you get all the distractors out of the way and you focus only on the things that you need to do. And the beauty of that is then you plan your sprint just one time, right? You say, okay, I've got 2 weeks of time. I know what my time blocks look like for this 2 weeks. I know what I'm going to be able to work. I'm only going to be able to work, say, 35 hours this week, this sprint. Normally I work 20 hours a week, but I have things that have come up for this particular sprint, and I'm not going to have that much time to work. So then you plan accordingly. Don't still jam all the things in that you need to get done when you know you're not going to be able to work as many hours. So that is what time blocks is all about. Time blocking should be a part of your planning process. Today, would be like a sprint planning day. If you're planning a 1 week sprint, 2 week sprint, it doesn't really matter. The first day of the week is your planning day, and then you determine what you're going to do for the week. Now you don't have to keep planning, right? Because you did your time blocks, you planned accordingly, you know when you can get work done, and now each and every day you're just going to do that daily scrum where you look at what you did yesterday, and you make sure you don't have any obstacles in your way for the work that you need to do today. And that's it. You don't spend hours and hours planning your work and replanning and reorganizing and I'm looking at you in the eye. You know what it is that we do is we love to get into that, organizing nirvana, right? Where we love to organize, but we actually never implement. So I want you to I want you to implement this week. I want you to implement this week. So start with your time blocks. Look at what time you have this week. Really focus in on that green and yellow time. That is your office time. Those are your office hours, right? And so I'm going to send this little thing out because I have this this little, is it this one? Oh no. I have this document. I'm going to just show you really quick because it's really cute. So I'm going to send this out so that you can put it on. You can put it on your fridge. You can cut it out and put it on your fridge so that everybody knows what time blocks you're in. Do you see this? And so you can actually just put the time that you'll be available. You could like laminate this with just packing tape or something, right? Put it on your fridge with a magnet. Use a dry erase marker and put what time you'll be available at. And if you put it on your fridge or on the outside of your office door or something, that is helping to send the message to your family that you are in green time, and that green time is precious to you and you need to have full focus. And if you're in yellow time, then you can put that side up and say, you know, I am in yellow time. You can come in, but, you know, keep it brief. I've got things to do. So, you know, a quick question or whatever is okay, but I've got to get back to work. So by using this thing, and this is great for if you have kids. I actually took this idea from a Scrum boss. She has a 6-year-old, and so she created this so that she could put on the fridge to teach her son about time blocks and about what it was. And I am telling you that even a 6-year-old knows what time blocks are, because when he would interrupt her during our meetings, she'd say, oh, you know, I'm in green time right now. And he'd say, okay, I'll come back. So you absolutely can train your family to respect your green time and respect your yellow time. The thing is, though, if you want them to respect that time, then you have to respect that blackout time. When you're ready to be with your family, give them your full attention, give them that time. That's the time you've blocked out to be with them. And do that. You know, don't work during that time. You know, don't be distracted by your phone and all those things that, you know, we always tell our kids not to be on phones, and then we're on the phone, right? Oh, we're working, it's okay, right? No, it's not. So get out there and, you know, protect that the blackout time, protect that green time, put up those boundaries, because eventually, if you respect your boundaries and you work, you know, efficiently and diligently within those boundaries, your family will respect them too, and it'll make your life a lot easier. All right, so that's all I have for you today. I want you to take the time to do your time blocks this week so that you can see exactly where you're spending your time, what you're spending your time on. You might actually discover that you were exploiting time that you should have been working on other things. So if that's the case, you know what to do. Either you adjust the time to a different time when you're better focused, or you you get a little bit more disciplined. You put that phone away, you put those distractions away, you do all those things, because this is the time when you need to work, and you need to work, right? You need to put those distractions away. So, all right, so happy implementing this week. Use those time blocks so that you make sure that you're making the most of all the time that you have. Remember, actually next week, I'm going to go more into estimating. We're going to talk a little bit more about that next week, because, you know, I always like to revisit these topics because I think that they're really important. It's kind of like a back to basics kind of thing. And last week I did, you know, the courses and, you know, tracking your courses and making sure you leverage those courses instead of just like putting them on your virtual shelf and then, you know, losing them forever. You know, you don't find them, you don't finish them, you don't do any of that. And so I'm kind of going through this whole month as just sort of all the different things you can do to make the most of your time. And so leveraging those courses and taking those courses when you actually need them rather than when they just happen to be in your scroll, is is a huge time saver and a huge avoiding, it's a way you can avoid being in the that shiny object syndrome cycle that we get into that wastes all of our time. And then time blocks is another great way that you can really identify when you work the best, when your family respects your time the most, and then you can protect all that time. Next week, we're going to talk about estimating. And then the following week, we're going to really dive into prioritizing, because I know that a lot of you share with me that, not knowing what to work on now, knowing what to work on first, all those things come up a lot. So we are going to dive into that and talk about that. So I hope you'll join me next week. I will have this download available to you in the replay that comes out this afternoon in your email. And I will see you in the comments. Thanks for coming. Bye.